Ladies and gentlemen, this is the captain speaking. Welcome on board your Pan-American Clipper. We're ready for takeoff, so please sit back, relax, and enjoy your flight.
Forget cramped seats and sad snacks. In the golden age of air travel, every flight felt like a first-class experience, filled with luxurious amenities and personalized service. There were gourmet meals, live music, and so much more that would blow your socks off. Let's take a trip back in time and explore 10 incredible features that made the golden age of flying so special. By the end, you might wish to trade your next budget flight for a taste of this bygone era. Number 10. Fashion shows and live entertainment. In the golden age of flying, airlines didn't just get you from point A to point B. They turned the journey itself into a first-class event. Forget scrolling through movies on a tiny screen. Some airlines hosted actual fashion shows at 30,000 feet. Models catwalked down the aisle, showcasing the latest trends and even the airline's own stylish uniforms. It was truly a glamorous affair, recalled the former flight attendant Susie Smith, who remembers those high-flying fashion shows fondly. But the fun didn't stop there. Number 9. Free-flowing champagne. The golden age of flying was truly defined by its luxurious in-flight experience. Passengers were greeted with endless glasses of champagne the moment they stepped on board, not just in first class, but sometimes even in coach. It wasn't uncommon to see passengers raising a toast mid-flight, enjoying the party-like atmosphere fueled by free-flowing champagne, brandy, and free wines. Number 8. Sleeping accommodations. This level of pampering didn't end when it was time for passengers to catch some shut-eye. The golden age of flying also offered a variety of luxurious sleeping accommodations that would make today's travelers green with envy.
I'm not jealous, Flavio.
Forget those cramped seats and questionable neck pillows. Back then, you could stretch out in fully reclining seats that transformed into flatbeds. If you were lucky enough to snag a first-class ticket, you might even find yourself tucked into a private sleeping berth, complete with privacy curtains, much like a miniature train compartment. Some airlines even went so far as to create lounge areas with comfortable beds, designed to resemble cozy living rooms in the sky. The spacious cabins of the time allowed for these lavish sleeping arrangements, making overnight flights feel less like a journey and more like a restful retreat. Number 7. No security checks. The ease didn't end with onboard accommodations. Getting to your flight was a breeze too, as security checks were a thing of the future. Passengers could saunter into the airport a short time before takeoff, their bags packed with whatever they pleased. No liquids rule, no removing shoes or belts. Boarding was often a casual stroll across the tarmac, up the stairs, and straight onto the plane. There were no long lines, no pat-downs, and certainly no full-body scanners. It was a simpler time when trust and a lack of major security incidents made air travel a less stressful experience. It wasn't until the rise of hijackings in the late 60s and early 70s that airports began implementing stricter security measures, forever changing the way we travel. Number 6. Spacious cabins. And while sipping champagne and enjoying live entertainment, passengers weren't crammed like sardines into tiny seats. Oh no, the golden age of flying was also the era of spacious cabins. In those days, airlines weren't trying to squeeze in as many passengers as possible. Instead, they prioritized comfort and luxury. There was ample legroom and fewer seats overall. You could actually stretch out and relax, making those long-haul flights a breeze. Some airlines even arranged their seats in a living room-like fashion, with comfy chairs and sofas. Number 5. Air stairs. Boarding a plane wasn't always as simple as it is today. Instead of those tunnel-like jet bridges that we use now, passengers used to climb aboard using air stairs. These were basically fancy sets of stairs that were wheeled right up to the plane's door. Walking across the tarmac, feeling the wind, and getting a close-up look at the plane made flying feel like an adventure. And it wasn't just about getting on the plane, it was a whole event. People would dress up in their best clothes, looking like movie stars as they walked up those stairs. It was a time when the whole experience of flying was special, not just the destination. Number 4. Caviar and luxury snacks. This commitment to luxury extended to the in-flight snacks as well. Forget those tiny bags of pretzels we get today. Back then, even the snacks were fancy. Passengers munched on high-end treats like caviar and gourmet cheeses, just like at a fancy restaurant. Some airlines even went all out, decorating their meals with ice sculptures. Talk about extra. The in-flight menus themselves read like those of a top-rated restaurant, with fancy dishes like veal orloff and lobster appetizers. Soup was served from special bowls, not those little plastic cups we see today. Nowadays, this kind of luxury is mostly found in business class, but back then, it was the norm for everyone on board, because only the rich could afford the tickets at that time. Number 3. Fine dining and silver service. In the golden age of flying, meals weren't just food, they were an experience. Passengers were treated to a fine dining experience, with meals served on elegant china with real silverware and glassware, all while seated at tables covered in crisp white linen. Flight attendants, expertly trained in the art of silver service, catered to every need, ensured a truly luxurious experience. Meals were often multi-course affairs, with each dish carefully prepared and beautifully presented. Some flights even had chefs on board, making sure everything was just right, from the tender roast beef to the delicate dessert. This commitment to fine dining was a hallmark of the era, creating an atmosphere of luxury and sophistication that is rarely seen in modern air travel. Number 2. Smoking sections. Back then, smoking wasn't just allowed, it was a common part of the in-flight experience. Initially, passengers were free to light up anywhere in the cabin, filling the air with a haze of smoke. It wasn't unusual to see people puffing away on cigarettes, pipes, and even cigars during the flight. Flight attendants would even offer cigarettes as part of the in-flight service, just like they would offer drinks or snacks. As time went on, airlines began to create designated smoking and non-smoking sections to accommodate both preferences. However, this wasn't always effective, as smoke would often drift through the cabin, making it difficult to truly separate the two. As concerns about health and secondary smoke grew, regulations tightened, eventually leading to a complete ban on smoking on all commercial flights by the early 2000s. This marked a major shift in the in-flight experience, aligning with broader societal changes and attitudes towards smoking and public health. Number 1. Piano bars. Some airlines also offered a feature that might seem even more outlandish today: piano bars. Yes, you read that right. In the upper decks of some Boeing 747s, first-class passengers could sip cocktails and listen to live music played on a piano. American Airlines was particularly famous for its piano bar, located on the lower deck of some of its planes. Pan Am even went as far as to turn the entire upper deck of its first Boeing 747 into a restaurant in the sky, with a lounge and piano bar. These onboard lounges were designed to be glamorous and relaxing, offering passengers a place to socialize and unwind while soaring through the clouds. The golden age of air travel was a time of luxury, a far cry from today's budget-friendly flights. Of course, that luxury came at a price. Tickets back then could cost a small fortune, but for those who could afford it, the experience was truly unforgettable.